Hey guys, this is Seth Keeping It Real. I'm very excited to be interviewing Augustas. He laughs at how I pronounce his name, but he has an incredible story. He went from around $25,000 a year, and in one single event, about 3 months of work, generated $20,000 as a result in just 3 months. Now, some of you guys are going to be saying, well, how is that even possible? This guy lives in Eastern Europe. It's a different economy there. Would that even work in America? Would it work in South America? How does that even work? And today, Augustas is going to share with you how he did it, how he was able to take his web developing job and turn his life around so that he could create freedom for his wife, his family, and for those that he loves. And I'm telling you, this principle is so universal. It's not just in the US, it is everywhere. And the more we share this, the more we find people so excited to say, wait a minute, it doesn't matter where I live, I can find freedom if I'm willing to do the work. But it was not an easy path. It was very difficult. There were a lot of obstacles. And Augustas is going to share those with you today. And Augustas from Lithuania, who I'll be meeting very soon in the great city of Prague. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, very happy to connect with you and to share my story with your audience.
If you could start, Augustas, by explaining what was it inside you that motivated you to decide, I'm a web developer, I can travel, but I have a problem because the only time I get paid is when I work. When I've stopped working, I stop getting paid. And additionally, when I travel, it's very expensive. So what motivated you to change your life and decide you were going to do something different with some very ridiculous obstacles along the way?
Yeah, so I was kind of a digital nomad before this term was invented, for more than 10 or maybe 15 years ago. My passion was to travel, and I studied computer science, so I just transformed into web developer so I could, be location independent. But already maybe 7-8 years along this path, I was not very happy about doing websites. This activity didn't make me happy. Also, whenever I couldn't afford to spend time to program, I didn't have additional income. So it was a little bit problematic to continue living this kind of lifestyle. I struggled several years to find the way. I listened to some... like 10 years ago, I listened a lot to spiritual teachers, especially from United States, like Wayne Dyer. It inspired me to change the life, but I didn't know how. They all talk, do what you love, but I didn't know what I love. So I remember at that time I gave in and I said, I don't do any programming because they said I have to do what I love. So I will just wait and see what happens. Maybe I will receive that message, what I like. So I was basically in limbo state for maybe half a year, and before I transformed it to raw food, I was eating raw food, trying to make information about raw food in my home country, in Lithuania, making recipes, documenting, but it didn't work out really. So I got back to the programming because we needed to create some, to make some income. And then I was looking for ways to do something online. So at the end, actually my breaking point was when one day I was really I was thinking, when we traveled, we were following the heart and magic things were happening. But now when I'm settled, I'm not seeing these magic things. Why? And that day I got this message that I have to serve people. When I was listening spiritual teachers, English speaking seminars, they were saying serve people, but I didn't understand what it means because I'm not native English speaker. I translated it to be a slave, so I blocked this idea. But later times were coming, years were going by, and I understood what does it mean to serve. It's basically to help other people, to focus on other people, and then you receive that energy back. Is it money or whatever you need?
I just want to park on something. You mentioned you felt like it would make you a slave to serve people. I don't think that's just a translation issue from English to Lithuanian. I think it's also many Americans are very grossed out by that idea. They feel like, oh my goodness, if I serve people, doesn't that make me their slave? Like that concept is almost not American. Because if you think about America, it was built on breaking away from England's rule, breaking away from taxes, being very independent. Americans are known for that. So even in America, people struggle with that. So I totally get what you're saying. I think it is something in our human nature doesn't want to go out and serve people, because does that mean that they're higher than me? Yet you found, well, continue on with your story. You're going to explain how you found. This is very interesting.
Yeah, basically that night I want to serve people, and I said it's my goal. I don't know how I had no idea what's gonna happen. I had no idea how I can serve. I could just type with my fingers programming code and do websites, but I didn't like that. But I said, okay, I let it go. I can do websites, and my goal is to serve people, to help them. So I just waited for another idea, and the next idea was actually to find and look for non-governmental organizations who need help with websites.
But Augustas, I have to understand, what made you go from believing that serving would make you a slave to serving is a good thing? What changed? Because there are people who are going to watch this, they're going to say, okay, that sounds all nice and great and altruistic, but I don't get it. How does that have anything to do with building a business? Don't you need to be cutthroat and a jerk and conniving and manipulative in order to make money? And a lot of people think that's what you have to do to become wealthy. So what happened in your heart, in your head, that made that shift?
I think, as I said, I listened a lot of different coachings. First, I started with spiritual. Later, I was looking to some interviews where business people are talking through money plus spiritual combination. What does it mean to do business in this way? When I was listening to them, I could trust them that I saw that they achieved what I want to achieve, and what they are saying, I thought they're saying the truth. Just it took me time to understand that probably I'm interpreting it in a wrong way. So I kept this kind of understanding. I needed to wait until this understanding will come back to me. What does it mean? What do they say? I kind of tried to figure it out. And once I got this feeling inside me...
It took time, yeah.
So basically I trusted those people which are saying that, but I blocked because maybe I was not ready, or my mind couldn't project to my experience that thing maybe. But later, I was repeating in myself, serve people, what does it mean? What does it mean? And then I was maybe going back to what happened in my life, and whenever I helped someone, I got back something maybe in another ways. And yeah, with this, it generated. And then when I set this goal, then things went up very fast.
Can I just say for a moment, Augustas, that this is proof that success is holistic? What it sounds to me like you're saying is you contextualized it, you integrated it, you realized money, spirituality, family, health. You mentioned raw foods, which made me very curious because that's awesome. All these things are related. They're not just independent segments. And I think a lot of times in Western society, there's this idea that you have your spiritual life over here, and then your money life over here, and your family life here, and it creates this horrible split on the inside of your soul that is painful and so unhealthy, and a lot of fakeness and posturing and pretending. But you wouldn't do it until it made sense to your heart, which I believe is one of the reasons you are so effective at what you do, because you integrated it into who you are as a person. You didn't just say, I'm going to go make money. It had to make sense to your heart. It had to make sense to your soul. You studied finances and spirituality. How many people think those are related? They're incredibly related. I just find that fascinating.
Yeah, actually, it helped me a lot. I was taking course of some spiritual business coach in Lithuania, and through him, when I set this goal, I found him on YouTube, and this is how universe brought me to where I am right now. So through that person, through that coach, I really realized how this is strongly related. This that you get money when you give something. It doesn't need to be money, or you just give your energy and you get another energy back, even more. And some of this energy is in the format of money, of course. And whenever I still now, let's say now I'm running successful business, online business for the last 3-4 years. And I meet now people who are in the same situation which I was 10 years ago. And they say, wow, I say to them, do YouTube videos about your passion and just do this. And they start, spinning, how can they make money? I said, forget, money can drop from unexpected way when you do one video maybe and one person, right person sees it. So
Right. It's very true.
So yeah, I always try to stop people to think about money when they start doing something. So you want to my continuation of the story. So basically, it's getting long, but afterwards I was brought with the idea about Amazon FBA business model. It was very interesting to me. My problem was I didn't have money. I could invest maybe maximum $500. I still invested a lot in following and even signing up for trials for different softwares. I researched products according to the videos I saw how to do it. But I realized $500 is not enough to invest, and I couldn't find a product with this budget. So I gave up with this idea to start now, but I was still keeping on following, especially Facebook groups. I think Facebook is one of the biggest resource for many Amazon sellers to find information because it's such a niched topic. And then because I was always on this wave to find how I can help people, I got an idea. I saw the idea of virtual summits.
Before you continue, just really quick, I want to share this. So most of you guys watching right now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Augustas became an Amazon seller. That's what you're thinking. Like, oh yeah, here's another Amazon story. Watch what happens next. You'll be surprised. Carry on.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So basically I found this information about doing virtual summits. I heard how people create a virtual summit, free virtual summit, and make $20,000 or 20,000 euros. I couldn't connect the dots. How does it work? So I researched more. I joined a program by Navid Moazis, Virtual Summit Mastery. And here I learned that this is how it works. So basically with a virtual summit, with a work of maybe maybe the first virtual summit, you might be slow and it might take 5 months, but you can become an authority in your space if you're an expert in certain space. In my case, I'm not even an expert of Amazon. We can reveal I'm not even an Amazon seller by this day. I'm enjoying just serving people with connecting Amazon sellers with experts. So I started to do these interviews, and during my first virtual summit, I interviewed 25 or 26 different experts from different countries. And this virtual summit was about how to sell on Amazon in Amazon marketplaces. Because I realized it was 3.5 years ago, there was no information about Europe in marketplaces, and people were just bugging with questions about that in Facebook groups. So I thought, why not to interview a bunch of group of experts and deliver it for free to the people? And I came out from nowhere, being non-English native speaker. Nobody knew about me. People Google my name and they just find maybe something about my past travels.
Let me make sure I understand this correctly. English is not your first language, and Amazon sellers, the Amazon community is primarily English. We can all admit that. You did not have a strong online presence. You didn't have like this huge following, and you were not an Amazon seller and knew very little about it, almost nothing practically, like as far as experience. And yet, this idea of creating virtual summits for Amazon sellers still was an idea. A lot of people would stop at this point. They would say, I can't do it. That makes no sense. You need a business model that makes... In fact, a lot of investors would have probably said you're crazy. Why did you continue going at this point when you realized these 3 obstacles?
Well, I was struggling a lot. Actually, first I thought, no, I shouldn't do a virtual summit in English in e-commerce niche. I should do in my home country, in my own language to test. But then I thought, oh my God, I will invest 3 months, will waste my time. My country is just 3 million people. There is no market in making money from virtual summit. Because after 3 months of hard work, you want some rewards, like financial rewards from virtual summit, not only by giving yourself out to the audience. And I think I was just motivated to change something. Also, of course, it's important that my wife was very supportive. She knew that I'm struggling with this website developing. I had to support her and my child, my son. And I was like waiting, and finally I smelled that it's something interesting. You know, sometimes you get these messages like you get now after 6 months, and then it's just, you cannot wait anymore. You have just to take action. And usually taking action is very hard, no matter what kind of action.
Yeah, and you mentioned your wife and your son. So obviously that's a huge motivation. the fact that your wife was supportive is also hugely helpful, which goes back to a lot of Amazon sellers or entrepreneurs or anyone. One of the biggest challenges in starting a business is if the spouse does not believe in what you're doing, it's very lonely and it's extremely difficult. So having your wife believe in what you were doing and support what you're doing was probably a huge help. And yet you still believed. So she supports you, that's good. You want to do this for your wife and son, that's good. But you still believed it would work. So you obviously had this deep seed in your heart planted that said, I'm going to make something bigger and better for my family and for me, which is really incredible. Like I just think it proves to so many people who start and get discouraged, stop and remember your why. What's motivating you? When your why is strong enough, there's so few things you can't do, you know?
Another why in that moment was I was seeing so many struggling Amazon sellers in Europe, or not only European sellers who wanted to sell in Europe, and they were asking about taxes, about listing translations, localizations. And I was like, why nobody's preparing this information? I cannot prepare it because I'm not an expert. So that's why it was the perfect format, virtual summits, just interview like we are doing now. Yeah. I did interviews. I became like a journalist, a reporter. It took me a lot of time to prepare for each interview, especially as you mentioned, I had no experience. I was just reading theoretical information, but at that time I had no access to Seller Central. Even now I don't have access. Maybe someone sometimes shows me inside, but having no practical information is a big issue. And I was a little bit concerned that some of my interviews will not be going so deep, but still people were very happy. And a lot of industry experts noticed this wonderful format and they wanted to be in my next show. So this is how I grew. And with this, we can probably just tell a little bit with the results, which I got from my first virtual summit. It was happening in 2000.
Before you show those results, I just want to make sure something is very clear. So every business is built on value. Finding something people need, people want, being a servant to them. And they want this mug, here you go, here's this mug. They pay you. They want coffee, here you go, here's coffee. They pay you. So your value was collecting minds, people who understand Amazon, bringing them together to teach others who don't know as much how to reach their goals. So I like how you said it, you're like Augustas, the Amazon FBA journalist. Like your role is you're collecting all these different experts, bringing them together. You're the organization mind behind it. You're bringing them together so there's high value content concentrated, like concentrated orange juice in one place. And all I have to do as an Amazon seller is pay to show up, and I get all this helpful information that helps me grow my business, which means I'm going to get all that money back anyways if the information is good, because it's going to help me to sell more and succeed. So I love this model because you don't have to be an expert in the field to provide what your expertise is, and tell me if I'm wrong, is you understand the market. You don't understand the how to sell, but you understand the market and the needs, and you understand how to organize. Because I know putting up an event requires 10,000 details. People who've never done it before have no idea how hard it is. There's so many things you have to think about, so many things that can go wrong. That right there is an organizational skill that you're leveraging to bring value. The reason I'm elaborating on this, Augustas, is for everyone watching, don't feel like you have to be an expert in one field to serve that field. Maybe you have a different skill you can bring to people in the field, just as Augustas has done. There are probably 500 different ways right now you could use your skill in ways you're not even thinking about yet. It doesn't always have to be Amazon FBA, and Augustas is proof of that. He went from about $25,000 a year, and at some of his events, $20,000 profit in just 3 months of work. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's always, I was following this with this idea to fulfill my goal to serve people. So I was always, whenever I was doing this, let's say, first virtual summit, I was thinking what kind of questions would help those people which are lost in those Facebook groups. So in some way it was kind of easy, I was just collecting questions from the Facebook groups and just asking these questions the experts. And I'm glad that you mentioned skills. Yes, I do have good organizational skills, very structured, and also have technical skills. So doing a virtual summit, I could save a lot in not investing into a web developer because I could create websites, which is the most important in this business model. All the funnels, I could do it myself. But there are a lot of different other kind of businesses where your skill can be used in a very, very efficient way. You don't need to be technical. Maybe you are, I don't know, you are good in identifying problems of people, and then you can just use this skill somewhere else.
We just met someone whom we hired on TaskRabbit to help move our stuff into one of our investment properties, and he began to talk and share what his dream is. He's starting a new startup, and he said his ability is he understands people very well. I don't think he's technical, but he understands people. So he's creating these small groups of people who get together and they go through these exercises and tests to grow their relationship so they can connect better and communicate better. That's a perfect example of he's taking a skill, he's pulling people together, and he's applying it in a way that people will pay money for because they want help with that. Whether it's their relationship with their boss, their subordinate, their brother, sister, wife, husband, doesn't matter who it is, he helps them with their relationships. And what you've done is you're right. You've taken the technical and organization, you brought value. I have to share with you guys, if you've never been to the Orange Click Summit, and I was kind of embarrassed, I didn't figure out what it meant. I would love to know if you guys can figure it out. I love the story behind Orange Click. Can I share that really quick?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I didn't know if you had planned it for part of as you share your story, but I would love to share. So orange, what's Amazon's color? Orange, okay. Click, you have to click to get the sale. So I love it. It's Orange Click. I have never, okay, I don't even have to qualify. I haven't been to it yet, but signed up to speak at a conference that was more organized than Augustas's Orange Click. An example would be the Google Doc you created, and you click a link and boom, it puts everything on your calendar and the deadline. I need the slideshow by this date. I need this by this date. I need RSVP by this date. Like all the information you need, it's there. I even emailed him back and I said, what about this? He's like, Seth, here's a Google Doc you could go to. I'm like, oh yeah, you sent that to me. So I'm telling you, the masterminding behind the scenes to make this work, this virtual summit, and in this case, an in-person summit, which we'll be at very soon, is phenomenal. And so huge kudos to you. Go ahead.
The name, it's not Orange Click Summit. It's organized by Orange Click, but the summit is called European Seller Conference.
Correct. Thank you. Yeah, European. So right now, where can someone go to find all these different summits that you put on? Where would they go right now, Augustas?
Yeah, the best is to go to orangeclick.com. The click is actually spelled K-L-I-K. I'm playing with my surname, which is Kligis. So it's a click, mouse click, and also my surname, a combination of two ideas.
And people will now no longer misspell it 95% of the time.
Yeah, if they misspell it, if they write Augustus, Orange Click, regular click, they will find me anyway, I'm sure.
Okay, good. So orangeclick, KLIK.com, correct?
Yeah. And I think people are waiting for the results of the first summit. Let's share it, right?
Let's do it.
The first
Absolutely.
virtual summit.
Yep.
So, yeah, the first virtual summit, after interviewing about 26 experts, it was few months work, and within 3 weeks from having zero subscribers, I ended up with 1,500 subscribers. So now I have an email list. Besides that, just very shortly, what is Virtual Summit? I broadcasted all 26 interviews within 5 or 6 days for free. Everyone could watch about 5-6 videos per day. And this block of videos was released for 1 day only, for 24 hours. Afterwards, people are welcome to buy All Access Pass, which is lifetime access to all the recordings. And it costs between $67 and $97. So it's a low investment, but great value. And with this, of course, I had some affiliates, I had to pay them out, and I got some freelancers like designer, somebody else, I think, and I had to buy maybe a better webcam. But all this generated to me, about between $8,000 and $10,000. At the same time, I was still doing programming. So I worked several months on that, but at the same time, I was generating money from my regular activity. I had to work a lot, but it was very nice payday, having this $8,000 or $10,000 at the end of this hard work. And if I would not have taken action a few months ago, I would just be in the same place. And now I had extra money, which I could, of course, immediately we booked flights to Spain and we went for a week with my family. So we were very happy that this worked out.
How long would have taken you to make that same 8,000 doing web development? How many weeks, how many months would that have taken you?
That time, maybe like 4 months or something.
Wow, that's incredible.
A lot of work. And I would have just money. No, no online presence, no email list, no kind of relationship with the industry leaders.
Right. So you're creating an asset. You're creating an asset because you have Google SEO ranking, you have recognition, you have a reputation, people starting to trust, people starting to get to know who you are. And that becomes evergreen value that will start to work on its own. Even when you're sleeping, people are still going to be interested in signing up for your virtual summits and your in-person European Seller Conference as a result, which is so smart. So you're not just doing work for someone and then you're done. No more money, no online presence. Everything you do is building a foundation for the future, which is really, really smart.
After that event, I did 5 more virtual summits. In total, I think I generated maybe, I don't remember exactly, 60, 80,000 profit within 2.5 years. So it's only virtual summits, but because I was building the audience, I could, do newsletters, do affiliate deals. So it was very nice transition from being web developer where I'm paid per hour, and if I want to travel with my family, I cannot work. I don't have income. I have to spend money. But now I could, as a lot of online marketers, they laugh kind of when you need money, you send an email. It's not that I'm emailing my list all the time with promotions. I'm very, very careful. Maybe it's more Eastern European mindset where we are very careful when somebody tries to sell you something. So I'm giving still maybe, 70 or 80% value, and just 20% I'm sometimes emailing something with affiliate links.
That's smart. It reminds me of Just One Dime. We're very, very similar where value, 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 value. If you want to buy, you can. Oh, I want to buy. We've had people who join, they're like, Seth, I want to buy because you've given me so much for free already. I feel like I owe it to you. And when you do that, you're adding value, and that feels so good. Now people don't feel like they've been tricked into it. They're doing it because it's actually changing their life, and I love that. So Augustas, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story. My hope and prayer is that everyone watching this is a massive motivation for you, whatever you're doing right now in your life, that you find that skill, you find your passion that Augustas talked about, you bring them together and you pour your heart into that. And the byproduct can be money, which can result in more time and freedom with your family. What advice would you give, Augustas, to anyone watching who hasn't started yet, whatever the entrepreneurial venture they want to go on? What would you say to them right now?
Actually, I talk to these people that, let's say, who are struggling or trying to climb their ladder, and I always tell them, take action, no matter how big or small it is. Just for example, I told to my friend, just do videos, and he starts thinking a lot of details. I said, don't care about camera, don't care about nothing. Just take action. Maybe you will throw away that video, but it will be a next step. And how I also try to explain that it will show you, it shows to the universe or higher somewhat this higher energy, which is moving everybody of us and makes all the synchronicity. It will show it, you will give a signal, okay, now I am doing this, and then this universe will will give a signal what is your next step. So basically, sometimes you want to take an action, it looks not logical, or it looks like, yeah, why do I have to take it? But if you feel it, just do it. And if you cannot take big action, just do something small. Maybe you got an idea, you were researching about some business idea, and you got this feeling that you have to email this YouTuber and ask something. Just do it. It costs no money, but maybe this is where all this energy flow starts flowing in your life and in your business.
Yeah, I love that, because it's very tempting to overthink it and to feel like we have to have everything set up perfectly first before we start. It's better to start and then perfect it as we go, which is interesting because I can tell you're very planned, calculated, even in this interview, you're like, Seth, people want to hear of this next part. You're very linear, which is fascinating. I think it's great. And I'm very like, hey, oh, this is a cool rabbit trail. This is a cool rabbit trail. But I think both are good. But it's interesting to hear you say that, because I know a lot of people who are very planned like you are, they struggle to start because they feel like everything has to be perfect first. But you understand the value. You got to move to action. You can perfect it as you go. It's like in software programming, iterations. You keep doing new iterations, and each time it gets better and better, which is absolutely phenomenal. Guys, go to orangeclick.com, orangeklik.com, to find out more about Augustas and what he does. And like I said before, I hope this is a huge motivation to everyone there. Thank you, Augustas, so much for being here today.
Yeah, and actually I wanted just to mention that from virtual summits I transformed to doing live events. So last year we did 4 events, and this year I want to do 8 events. And I'm still in this position of being afraid to take action. But yeah, I think sometimes I'm also not afraid to fail. So it's also okay to fail. So only if you take action you can fail. And if you don't take action you cannot fail, and nothing happens anyways.
Amen. Well, I will be there at your event in Prague very soon speaking, which I'm super excited, and thank you for having me.
Cool. Thank you for coming to Prague as well. So European Seller Conference is for everyone who wants to learn and meet other European and not only European Amazon sellers as well.
Absolutely. Guys, click the link below if you want to be part of that. And I can't wait to see you in person. You also can meet Augustas too. Thank you, Augustas. Take care.
Thank you, Seth. Bye.